This is WWE Wrestling Legend Hall of Famer Tito Santana.
This is WWE NXT Superstar Lexis King.
And you are listening to the Source Wrestling Podcast. Arriba!
And you're listening to the Source Wrestling Podcast. Long live Lexis King.
What's up, crusters? This is the heavy metalweight mosh pit coming straight out of the Providence Underground, and you're listening to the Source Wrestling Podcast.
You're looking at the best there
Austin
is.
316.
What do you guys want to talk about?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest. I'm the best. I'm the best in the world.
Let me talk to you. Yeah.
We will rest
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to another edition of This Week in Wrestling with The Source, WWE, AEW, All Things Wrestling Podcast with Joe
And
Mike. Yeah, and today we welcome you back to another edition of This Week in Wrestling. Let us talk to you. And I feel like I've been saying this every single week. What a week in wrestling it has been, because it's true. That's the level of professional wrestling, how hard it's hitting right now. We have had the Smackdowns. We have had the Forbidden Doors. We have had the Monday Night Raws. And that's what we're going to talk to you about today. It's time to reflect. And Mike's going to open it up with Friday Night Smackdown. Let him talk to you.
What an awesome SmackDown we had, because we're still trying to figure some stuff out, you know?
Yes.
Still trying to figure out some Money in the Bank contestants.
Absolutely.
We're still trying to figure out what's going on with the Bloodline saga.
Yes, big stuff.
And we're looking for answers. So here we are. We start off with a segment involving the Bloodline and Cody, KO, and Orton.
Yeah.
Why don't you elaborate on that, Joe?
Yes, so SmackDown, it rolls in after the production package, and then you see the Bloodline arriving to the arena. You see Paul Heyman, our poor wise man as of late. You see Solo, you see all these dudes, but you don't see Jacob Fatu just yet. And then it pans to Cody, KO, and Randy Orton now showing up, and they're just ready to go. They're looking for war. You know what I mean? They have murder beef with the Bloodline, and they come out, out to the ring, and they're calling them out, and, out comes the Bloodline, but out comes security, and, there's a big mess here, a big war. It's just like, you feel bad for Nick Aldis. He really did not have control over this situation. All of these security guards are taking finishers. One takes a stunner. One takes a crossroads. One takes an RKO. And one of those security guys is probably going to be a world champion one day.
Oh, absolutely.
That's how that's been going. Yeah, hell of an opening segment, man. It really builds the hype for the Money in the Bank match this Saturday night from Toronto, Canada, between Cody, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton versus the Bloodline members. So, it opens up with this, and we all get really hyped for this episode of SmackDown. And we got a Money in the Bank, a women's Money in the Bank qualifier to open up the show after this.
And did they open up?
We
had, Candice LeRae, Jade Cargill, and Tiffany Stratton. Clear favorite for this one was Jade Cargill.
Yeah.
Secretly, Joe really wanted Tiffy.
It's not a secret, man. I called it on the last episode.
And it was actually the prettiest moonsault ever.
We love it.
Tiffany Stratton that takes the V in this one and goes on to Money in the Bank. So we're going to see Tiffy time. That leaves Jade Cargill out of the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, she kind of got screwed out of it. Tiff used her brains. You know what I mean?
Bianca as well.
Absolutely.
So now do they team back up and go for those titles?
Regain those tag team titles? We don't know, but it would be interesting to see. Tiffany Stratton, who I originally had picked to, hoping she would be in this match. She has now qualified. I think she's got a great chance of winning, guys. I really, really do.
I do too, but I really also think that Chelsea Green would be a more enjoyable win.
Yeah, I feel like that would hit a lot harder because
it'd be enjoyable because we'd get a lot of comedy out of it.
Oh, absolutely.
The whole Money in the Bank run is going to be hilarious. You know
definitely,
what I mean?
Definitely. The whole hot mess character she's got going on is really, really good. Good luck, Chelsea Green, but I'm still pulling for Tiffy time. It's Tiffy time in Toronto. Toronto Tiffy time.
Well, it certainly is Tiffy time.
Yeah.
And all I can say right now is that there's a men's Money in the Bank qualifying match.
Oh, is there ever one?
LA Knight versus Logan Paul. So we're getting to see that a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Versus Santos Escobar, which I thought was a weird throw-in.
Yeah.
Personally.
They're loving these triple threats right now.
I know that they've had like a three-way feudy type thing going on.
Yeah.
But
Still, though, you got two megastars and you got mid-card guy,
So, winner, LA Knight. And how does he do it?
Thank you.
He rolls him up. Rolls up Logan Paul like a blunt.
He does it. He rolls
After
him up like a blunt.
BFT to Escobar.
Yes, he hits that BFT on Escobar. Escobar is out of the mix, and it goes into like a series of counters and goes into that roll-up where Logan tried rolling up LA Knight first, and he was like, nah. And then he just he hits the roll-up on Paul, pins him clean. He pinned the U.S. champion clean. 1, 2, 3. Qualifies for the Money in the Bank. So that's my pick now. I was going with Jey Uso before LA Knight was in this match. Obviously, if you listen to the show, we're big on LA Knight here, guys. So I got him going all the way, winning that Money in the Bank since he was in it last year and lost it.
It's looking that way, especially with rumors that the Wyatts might actually be after Jey Uso.
Ooh, yes, the Wyatt Six.
It
could
seems
be
like they
not
might
good
cost
for
him
them.
that Money in the Bank.
Yes.
I don't know if Gable's going to win because I don't think they have any allegiance to Gable. I think Gable's kind of caught in the crossfire right now.
He totally is.
It's either they're going after Gable or they're going after Jey Uso.
Right.
And if they're going after Jey Uso, then that means that, Gable has just been a decoy.
Exactly,
It's
to
not
make
like
you think.
They're not going to help him win the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and that's
LA
why
Knight can rise up and win it at that point.
Exactly,
I mean?
and I think that's why they haven't laid a hand on Chad Gable yet, and you see him keep, squeaking by these Wyatt Six appearances, and it's a good take, I gotta say. It's a good take.
But next up, we have a qualifying match for Money in the Bank in the women's side. Naomi versus Blair Davenport versus Indy Hartwell. And you knew that Naomi was kind of the clear
she
favorite
was
for
the
this
favorite,
as well.
yeah.
And she
Indy
wins
did
it.
her job.
Yep.
She went out there and she put up a good fight. Blair Davenport, you're still new. Maybe this time next year, you can be in the Money in the Bank. It had to go to Naomi, I feel. It had to. She is the most experienced superstar or wrestler.
That was just
in
like
the
a
match.
pretty much like a, hey, we want you to be in it. So just
can you
get this match over with.
Just
so
win
we
this
can-
match. Yeah, right, man.
Yeah.
And that all leads to
The Bloodline Acknowledgement Stores.
the ceremony. Yeah.
The Bloodline Acknowledgement Celebration.
The
I guess you would call it.
ceremony,
Or a ceremony,
Yeah.
celebration, whatever it is. But then they get to the ring, and then all of a sudden, Solo does the unthinkable. He yells to
pulls
the
out.
crowd. No, he yells to the crowd, "Acknowledge me."
He did, and already he's getting heat for that. Major heat for that. He's the acting tribal chief. I mean, Roman
then-
said it himself, but I think he's taking this way too far.
Yep, and then he tells all the members to tell him that they acknowledge him. So
Yeah.
first up comes Tonga.
Yep.
Loa, I think.
Tonga Loa, then Tama Tonga, and they actually gave Jacob Fatu his own separate entrance here because at this point he was not on SmackDown. Excuse me, guys, until now. So he had like this really cool pyro entrance and all that. They're building him, and I think he's way more terrifying than all the other Bloodline members.
Yeah, I think
We'll
he's going
just
to
say
carry
that.
it, honestly. And Zilla,
Definitely.
I hear Zilla's coming, too.
Yeah,
so.
we are seeing this on the dirt sheets. Take it for what it is,
But then he goes to the last member of the Bloodline, Paul Heyman.
the wise man.
Tells him to acknowledge him, and he says, "I acknowledge that
you
are not my tribal chief."
Massive pop.
Massive pop.
Huge pop. Heyman looked like he didn't sleep the night before, and the rumors are exactly that. Like he's been depriving himself of sleep. He's not dyeing his hair. He's not shaving. He's all in on selling this Bloodline 2.0 and making these guys look like monsters, dude. And what happened to him? What happened to our wise man? What happened?
So what they did was I think
Shield
it was
style.
actually Jacob Fatu that hit him
Fatu
first, yeah.
was the initial guy putting it
And
all
then
together.
They did the old
the Shield style triple power bomb.
Yep. Through
On
the
the
table,
wise man at
and
58.
he took it like a champ.
Dude,
honestly,
he
and,
really did take it like a champ. If you
I
go
am
back,
wondering if he is injured.
I was just gonna comment on that. If you go back, it looks like they overshot the table with Paul a little bit. He could have landed on his neck. easily could have been permanently injured, but this is how into this Paul Heyman is for everybody. You know, he's going to take that bump, and I say we don't see Paul Heyman on TV for quite some time. A couple months, you know, with the return of Roman Reigns, he returns with the wise man. That's where I'm at.
I'm hearing a lot today that they're saying Roman Reigns in the next 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yep.
Oh, that could really get interesting.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, because I saw a post.
You heard it here first on the source. It's getting hot out here.
Oh, yeah, it is. And if Roman comes back after what they did to the wise man, you know, these guys are going to be in trouble. They really are.
Yeah, I agree. Well, next up we have some AEW talk.
Yes, sir. And the Forbidden Door coverage of the Source Wrestling Podcast has been kicked in and knocked off the hinges.
Knocked loose, if you will.
Yep, for all you fans of music out there, if you get that one, good for you. Thanks, guys. It's time for Forbidden Door, 6:30-24. I'm going to start off with a quick recap of the 0-hour portion of the show, because there was some good stuff going on, believe it or not, for free pre-show stuff. We had Kyle Fletcher defeating Serpentico. We had a 4-way tag match, the House of Black, which shocking that they're on the pre-show. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time. Defeating Private Party, Kyle O'Reilly, Tomohiro Ishii, and Gabe Kidd, and Roderick Strong. We had Willow Nightingale and Tom Nakano defeating Chris Statlander, who's been really impressive lately. And excuse me on this one, Mamo Watanabe. We also I'm trying, man.
Okay.
We are trying. We are buying Rosetta Stone.
Pretty good.
Not bad. This match was great for a pre-show match. I really want to talk about this one for a second. Owen Hart Cup Foundation Women's Quarterfinal. It's Mariah May. It's Saraya. They tore the house down. It was an epic match. I really thought it should have been on the actual card. Mariah May gets it done, puts Saraya down, and moves on in the Owen Hart women's quarterfinal, which I was kind of sitting there thinking, Saraya's going to find a way. She's been really good at winning these big matches. She does not get it done. Mariah May does, and she's looking great. She's moving on. And then to finish off 0 Hour, we had Mystico and the Lucha Bros, which are made up of Penta El Zero, Miedo, and Rey Fenix, defeating Titan, Yoda Tsuji, and Hirimu Takahashi. These Forbidden Door pay-per-views really get me because I don't follow New Japan, and these guys have some wild names. I'm trying my best to do them justice, but we move on to the beginning of the Forbidden Door. The door is open. We've had a few days to reflect on this. Opening match, Hechicero from CMLL versus MJF. It's kind of surprising that they're putting MJF first in these situations lately, like we were just talking about here. But he is just returning.
I'm kind of bored with his return so far.
I think he's this is all yet to come. You got to put him in there with a couple of new guys. Get him acclimated again.
I guess.
He
just came off that run, dude. This is
massive.
WWE. It's like Seth Rollins coming back and having to be opening up cards. Come on, man.
That doesn't make sense to me.
But Cody Rhodes lose the championship. He's had it for less time than MJF did.
I know, MJF.
If he lost it right now, do you think he would have to go?
No, he would not. He wouldn't have to be wrestling in opening matches.
Exactly.
I'll tell you that.
MJF
is a main eventer. He should be in main event matches. But anyway,
he already had his title shot.
Dude, I'm ready.
At Forbidden Door.
I'm ready. I'm ready for another run.
Come on, you're giving Mercedes Moné 2 championships now. You already gifted a belt to Okada and Will Ospreay. I'm glad he didn't get 2. I thought it was going to be a total cleanup. I had
faith
all the new
in
people
whose
get all the
house?
belts.
Swerve's house. But we'll get there later. Hechicero versus MJF. A really good technical wrestling match. MJF pulled out a couple of new moves that I haven't seen him do. I think they called one of them the Long Island Sunrise, where it was like a Canadian Destroyer type move. MJF doing it looked really good. He attempted that Heat Seeker, but he ends up taking Hechicero down with the stalling brainbuster that he's been using upon his return. And your winner of the first match match of Forbidden Door 2024, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, the Wolf of Wrestling, MJF. Shout out to MJF because there's no way he's losing right now. Next, though, we had the Young Bucks and Okada, so most of the Elite. They're dripping in gold versus the Acclaimed and Hiroshi Tanahashi, which was a pretty solid, I would say, tag team match for this. And nonetheless, it's Kanushka. Wow, how stoned am I? It's Kazuchika Okada taking the win here for his team, the Young Bucks, the Elite, with the Rainmaker for the win. While we're on the subject of talking about AEW, though, guys, before I do this next match, I don't know if you guys have seen this. AEW has released a commemorative Reebok shoe for Brody Lee. If you guys have checked that out, they look awesome, and they're actually affordable. You can get them right now on Champ Sports for $90.
Nothing like affordable stuff.
$90. You can get yourself a pair of the Brody Lee Reeboks, and the proceeds go to people dealing with grief, and it's totally cool. I want to get myself a pair. Just had to go off track and say that. Rest in peace, Brody Lee. Definitely want to cop those AEW Reeboks. Up next on Forbidden Door, we had an Owen Hart Foundation tournament match. Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi, and we all had Danielson winning here, and he did. So we can pat ourselves on the back for this one. He wins by decision.
Oh, yeah. How am I doing so far?
So far, you're 2 for 2. We both had MJF.
Yeah.
We both had Danielson. So we're both 2 for 2 right now. We're doing all right. Danielson gets it done with the armbar by decision. Really, really high-flying, hard-hitting, technical match to continue this Forbidden Door card. And up next on this card, we had quite an entrance to, I'll get there in a second, AEW Women's Championship match. Toni Storm, the champion, defending against Mina Shirakawa. Mina comes out, has her entrance, and Toni Storm, I don't know if you guys saw this one, Toni Storm comes out dressed as the Statue of Liberty and has this whole Statue of Liberty entrance, kills it, and that just set the tone for the kind of match that Toni Storm was about to have. She gets it done. She retains the title. We all knew that she wasn't losing. We're 3 for 3 now. Toni Storm with the Storm Zero gets it done against Shirakawa, puts her down, puts her in her place. And Mariah May comes out now, and this is Tony Khan being Tony Khan. Mariah May comes out at the end of this match to congratulate both. You know, it was a good match, but Tony got it done, and all three of them kiss each other in the middle of the ring on camera at the same time. That's Tony Khan, just ratings grabbing like a motherfucker. You don't have to do that. You have the wrestling talent to just, not do that every week. Anyway, up next is probably one of the greatest technical wrestling matches I've seen in a very long time. It is freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr., has been in TNA for a very long time, other companies, really good technical wrestler. And this is where we lose, Mike. We got this one wrong.
Oh, no.
Freshly squeezed, our boy. He takes a loss here with one of the most brutal submissions that I've seen in quite some time. It was like a twisting body limb submission. He had Orange Cassidy by every limb of his body. There was nothing Orange could do. The referee rings the bell, and, it's tough to see Orange Cassidy lose. It really is. I love everything he's doing. But, you brought Zack Sabre in. You have to sell him as
you gotta sell him.
A credible threat, And, so that's our first L right there of the predictions.
Okay. All right. I'll take it. But we're tied still. So
we are tied. Yeah.
Running through it.
It's okay. Here. It's okay. So, one of them is going to might make this a game. Anyway, up next, it's, hey, guys. Thanks, guys. It's the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, Big Bill, and Jeff Cobb from New Japan, who just looks like Rhino. This dude literally looks like Rhino 2.0 versus Shibata, Samoa Joe, and Hook. And here is where you take the lead, Mike, on this one, because I had the Learning Tree pulling this one out somehow, dirty. And you actually had Hook and Shibata winning this match with Samoa Joe, and they did just that. The Learning Tree gets cut down at Forbidden Door. So Mike is in the lead, guys. I got this one wrong.
Wait, what happened?
Did you miss all that?
No.
Okay.
Not all of it.
Okay. So This next match that I just talked about is where Mike takes the lead in the predictions. It is the Learning Tree versus Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata, and I had the Learning Tree winning this match. I had them pulling it out somehow, not clean. I was wrong, guys. Thanks, guys. Mike takes the lead.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Samoa Joe,
My vast wrestling knowledge has
Right?
come to fruition.
he got it done.
We'll see how I finish up.
Samoa Joe, Hook.
Actually, I already know that I
Yeah.
know coming up. So,
Yeah.
oh man, it all comes down to the next few fights.
Exactly. But we will get there.
Okay.
Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata get it done.
Ciabatta bread?
Ciabatta bread. With Hook actually using the Judas effect, a finisher of Chris Jericho's on Chris Jericho himself. So he embarrassed him.
Effect,
Yep. Hook gets the win with Chris Jericho's own move for his team. Next up on Forbidden Door, we had the vacant TNT Championship ladder match. Mark Briscoe versus Konosuke Takeshita versus Jack Perry versus Dante Martin versus Lio Rush versus El Phantasmo. And before I give you guys the winner of this match, there is one spot in this match that I absolutely have to shout out. It's Konosuke Takeshita and El Phantasmo. Takeshita at one point had Phantasmo on the ring apron with 2 tables laid out on the floor, and Blue Thunder bombed him to hell from the ring apron through those 2 tables. One of the sickest spots of the night. Takeshita, this dude can go. Keep him in these kinds of matches. But we both tie here, because we both had Jack Perry winning this match. Jack Perry wins the ladder match after being the last one standing. He took out Briscoe with a steel chair. Jack Perry, guys, is your new TNT champion. And we had it here. We had it called. And the scapegoat takes the gold. And now the elite is literally dripping in gold. Every member has a championship. So Jack Perry gets it done.
Okay.
In this match, and now
Jack Perry gets it done.
Yep.
And who voted for who there?
we both voted for Perry
We did.
to win the championship.
Wow.
He won the championship, so that's another 1-1 there. Next, though, speaking of,
Who's he going against again?
this was the TNT.
I'm the guy that recaps, so everybody
Yeah.
who wasn't paying attention gets a little recap.
This is the ladder match for the TNT title. It was Briscoe versus Konosuke Takeshita versus Jack Perry versus Dante Martin versus Lio Rush versus El Phantasmo for the vacant TNT title that Copeland had to relinquish because of the ankle injury.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so was Jack Perry winning this match. He was the last one standing. He pulls the TNT championship off the stand on top of the ladder. He wins the match. He took out Mark Briscoe with a steel chair to get this victory. And once again, your new AEW TNT champion is now Jack Perry. Like I said, the elite are dripping in gold right now. Every member has a championship
Of course,
title.
they run the show.
They do. Bitch, as the Rainmaker would say. Next is title for title match. It is AEW TBS champion Mercedes Moné, the CEO, versus New Japan Pro Strong Women's Openweight champion Stephanie Vacker. And this is for all the gold, title for title.
Oh, boy.
Her opponent being Monet, her opponent and Mercedes put on one hell of a match. Very technical, high-flying, submission-driven. Shout out to both wrestlers, but it's clear that Mercedes Monet has creative control in her contract. She is now a double champion. She retains the AEW TBS championship and also wins the New Japan Pro Strong Women's Openweight titles, and she does that with the crossface submission hold. So your winner, once again, Mercedes Moné,
right.
double champion, the CEO,
Double champ.
adds another one to her bank, if you will. Up next, guys, I'm really like, okay, is the show over now? It was a really long show, but we still have the IWGP World Championship match. Jon Moxley defending against Naito. And this is another one we all got wrong, guys. We all had Jon Moxley retaining the IWGP Heavyweight World Championship. He actually loses this match to Naito, who's now a multiple-time IWGP champion. So we both got that wrong. I assume it's time to bring the IWGP World Championship back to Japan where it belongs. You know what I mean? John Moxley looked tough against him, but takes first loss in a very long time at Forbidden Door. So we'll see where he goes from here. Yeah, and this is it now. It's been a few days since we've seen this match. We can think about it and talk about it. It was the main event of AEW Forbidden Door 2024. It is the AEW International Champion, the Aerial Assassin, Will Ospreay,
oh boy,
who's on the run of his life right now, the run of that anyone could wish for right now, versus AEW World Champion Swerve Strickland, for all the marbles, the AEW World Championship, and this has really been building over the last few weeks, and I just want to say that this match delivered. It did not disappoint. All the build-up was well worth it. The sequences, the wrestling sequences in this match were so fast and like I've never seen in such a long time. You could tell they worked so hard to put this together and make everything look clean. At one point, Don Callis himself tried to get Ospreay to cheat to win the title. He tried to entice Will Ospreay to use like a screwdriver or something like that, and then swerve for good and win the title. Ospreay chooses to be a man of merit and not do it, so it unfortunately cost Will Ospreay here. He ends up hitting, they hit all their moves. And I'm telling you, all their moves multiple times. It ends up being a house call and followed by big pressure by Swerve, the champion, to retain his championship. Will Ospreay takes his first loss as an AEW superstar. So, and still, guys, your AEW World Champion, Swerve Strickland. Very interesting to see what happens from here. Will Ospreay takes his first loss. So my prediction was correct there. Mike really was on the Ospreay wave for that one. That's going to wrap up Forbidden Door. I think it was a very long pay-per-view, but it was very, very solid. You got your money's worth if you ordered it, man. We're moving on, though. We're moving on. AEW,
yes,
we'll talk about that another time on the Source.
Going back into WWE land.
The greatest show on earth, brothers.
I don't know if you're ready for all of this, but it was a stacked Monday Night Raw.
It surely
We're talking
was.
July 1st.
July 1st, yep. It's a
Not
new
to be
month.
Confused with the 4th. It's
Not
July
to be
1st.
confused at all.
First
with
up,
the
we
4th.
had Jey Uso.
Yeah, Jey
Gable,
Uso comes out first.
Y6 in an opening segment.
Yes, and all those
all
names.
Together,
all
as
those
a family,
names.
just having it. No. First came out.
Having dinner.
It
was Jey Uso.
Jey Uso
comes out. He's selling the whole Money in the Bank thing. The money in the yeet in the bank, whatever you want to call it. And unfortunately, Chad Gable, the master, has to get involved here and let him know that no, I'm the one that's winning the Money in the Bank. I'm better. You know what I mean? Blah blah blah. And it ends up being a Wyatt 6 appearance where Jey Uso pretty much just yeets himself out of there. And everything goes black, as they do. That one piano note is playing endlessly. And Gable's trying to find his way out of there. Nikki Cross, Sister Abigail, shows up with another box to give to Michael Cole with a VHS tape in it. And as Gable is retreating through the crowd, through each tunnel is a different member of the Wyatt 6. And Gable, I don't know how, he ends up getting away from this. You can clearly see that each member was there ready to, looking like they were ready to take action against Chad Gable. And unfortunately for them, Gable gets away here.
Yeah.
Hell of an opening segment for Monday Night Raw.
It's kind of cool how they're doing it like a horror movie kind of.
It really is.
Like
yeah.
the suspense
terrifying.
of it, the imagery of it.
It's really cool.
It's very cool. Him coming to face with each of the characters, like that was really cool. So I'm interested to see where this goes. I'm antsy.
Yes.
I feel like they got to get it moving. I want to see them wrestle.
I know. But I feel like there's a story to tell first.
Yeah, I'm sure that there is.
And that's what they're doing with all these segments. And shout out to Wyatt 6. Everything's been Wyatt sick. First match of Monday Night Raw, though, was this is kind of a continuation of last week. This is now Xavier Woods and Karrion Kross, who's been bragging that he has beat, 7 WWE former champions, and he's adding them up, he's tallying them up, and then they put him out there against Xavier Woods, and Woods goes over with an inside cradle and makes Karrion Kross look like a joke, and he's already not getting a reaction right now as it is with this Final Testament.
No, I mean, we've been talking about it for weeks.
I know, and
It's just
it's
not
not
popping.
going over. Now the Wyatt Six is here, which makes the Final Testament look like Barbie and Ken.
Yeah, it does.
It's not a good look.
I don't know what they'll do with it. I think they should move that whole bunch over to AEW. Like,
Yeah, maybe just try it somewhere
TNA,
else.
popping in TNA.
Yeah, they would probably pop anywhere else. WWE is just way too stacked for something like this right now. But a segment on Raw worth talking about and very notable is a Judgment Day Clubhouse quote unquote type segment where it's Finn Balor, Dom Mysterio, Damian Priest, and they walk into the clubhouse, and Liv is in there with Finn Balor.
Yes, she is.
And JD's playing WWE 2K24 like he always is in the Judgment Day clubhouse, and Liv is basically like, "Oh, I'm out of here, and Priest is like, "Yo, what's good? Like, why is Liv here? This isn't a good look." And it's just, you get more teasing of the end of Damian Priest and the Judgment Day here is what we're getting, the whole, and they're going back and forth on how, Damian Priest said last week that he didn't need them and so on and so forth. Liv Morgan is really making a lot of drama.
Yeah,
right
basically
now.
he's like, "Yo, like, he calls him out finally. He's like, you keep saying you don't need us, and I'm getting kind of sick of it, blah, blah, blah." And then Damian Priest says, "Well, you do need me, and that's because I'm the champ."
Exactly.
He's like, and that's when Rhea was the champion, you guys needed her the most because she was the champ.
Uh-huh.
He's like, that's just how it is. And now you guys are the champs.
Yeah.
Like, so I guess we need each other.
Exactly.
So that was broken right there.
Uh-huh. And another notable thing was when it was just Damian Priest and Dom about to walk into the Judgment Day locker room, clubhouse, whatever you want to call it. He asked Dom, he's like, "Yo, have you talked to Rhea? Like, she's really pissed off, dude, about this whole Liv Morgan problem." And Dom's like, "Yeah, I talked to her, man. I talked to her." And he's like, "Well, that's funny because I just talked to her. And she says that you haven't talked to her and you need to take care of this." And he's like, "Yeah, I got it, man. I got it." It's just for some reason, for obvious reasons, Dominic is not reporting to mommy and not taking care of this Liv Morgan issue that we're having here.
It's true. Neglecting it, if you will.
Extremely. And it keeps biting him in the ass, but we'll get there later.
Yeah, next up, we have the Women's World Championship matchup that we've been waiting for. Zelina Vega versus Liv Morgan. What an enjoyable matchup this was. They're
Very
both kind of
good.
short, so
It
works,
was, but
No,
both.
they're short. They're both very short. I think Liv Morgan's like 4'11" or something like that. Isn't
Yeah,
she?
I don't know the
something
technical
crazy.
stat,
Yeah,
but
like-
they're both little ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Good
But,
match.
Liv wins with the Oblivion.
Yes.
And it was actually Dom, and Ray, involvement that actually
There
made
was,
this
yep,
happen.
and they have a match later on Monday Night Raw, but they actually both end up getting involved here, and the match just goes sour for Zelina Vega at this point, and ends with Liv Morgan retaining her title, like you said. But guess who's back again? Seth freaking Rollins, brothers.
Absolutely.
He's back again, comes out to a massive reception, as he should, and he's just saying, we're in Boston, this is the town of champions. I don't feel right unless I have my World Heavyweight Championship. I need it, he says. He needs it to survive. He can't do anything else. Seth freaking Rollins can't. Besides win his World Heavyweight Championship back. He says he won't be able to do anything else. And then, then we have Finn Balor getting involved and Damian Priest. And, this is all building towards Money in the Bank here for their World Heavyweight Championship match. And it is now this Saturday. So guys, if you want to make your predictions, definitely do. I'm hoping for a Seth Rollins victory here at Money in the Bank. And, I know it's very unlikely because a win against Seth for Damian could really solidify his title reign.
Yeah. It's going to be a weird matchup either way, I'd say, because it's like I don't know.
Neither
which
of
way
them
it
should be
goes.
losing right
Yeah,
now.
Neither should lose.
You know, that's tough, but we'll have
So
to wait.
I'm hoping that Seth Rollins just had. I mean, I'm sure that Seth Rollins title run was very profitable for WWE.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I have
over.
no doubts that maybe I can't say no doubts, but I lean heavily in saying that it's probably going to go the route of you leave and get yourself better, and when you come back, you can just have the title back. You know what I mean?
Right. But we'll see. I'd love to see another Seth Rollins title run. I really would.
Who wouldn't?
Exactly. We'll just have to wait till Money in the Bank for that. Up next, we have, speaking of Money in the Bank, we have another qualifying match. It's a triple threat match for the women. It's Dakota Kai versus Zoe Stark versus Ivy Nile. And this didn't go how I wanted this one to go. I happen to be a Dakota Kai fan. I think she deserves better than this. Like, she just keeps having to put people over, and she never can progress as a singles competitor. And she has the tools. They put in Zoe Stark over here with the Z360. Why? Like, Trish Stratus couldn't get Zoe Stark a reaction with the fans. I don't know why they're doing this, but Joey, that's me, not Zoe. Zoe Stark gets the win, and I'm not a fan of it at all. She's going to the women's Money in the Bank. I think it's pretty obvious she's not going to win the briefcase. That's just where I stand on it. But now we happen to see the VHS tape. Michael Cole tells us it's time once again to see another one of these VHS tapes, and it's this one's kind of on the same sinister vibes as the last one. Howdy is asking Taylor Rotunda certain questions and reacting, and they're talking about family. They're talking about somebody who's what was the quote, Mike? They're talking about somebody who's like betraying their family or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, basically, somebody who's not treating their family right. You know what I mean?
Right, and that makes us think, okay, is he talking about Chad Gable, first of all, with how he's treating the Alpha Academy, but they are not family. So we heard a notion earlier that this Chad Gable involvement with the Wyatt Six could just be a decoy, and they're really coming for Jay, and they take him out of the Money in the Bank match. That would be pretty interesting, I would say. So we have this VHS tape segment. There's a few words that Howdy was saying that were blurred out, that were like bleeped out. I wonder if it sounded like there were maybe talks of Taylor bringing something back to life, which automatically makes me think of The Fiend again. I think there was one point in that segment where he was like, bring the whatever it was back to life, and it was bleeped out, or a flicker, or the voice was distorted. You know what I mean? It really, really awesome segment.
Cool.
Really, really good. For the second one, it takes you deeper into this story, and I'm invested. Taylor Rotunda is doing the job of a lifetime right now when it matters the most for his brother, the fallen Bray Wyatt. Before we get on to the next match, though, guys, we had a little quick segment in the back it's noteworthy. We had Otis just sitting there in catering, trying to mind his own business, and it kind of ties into what we just talked about too. And Chad Gable comes in, and he's back again. He's like, Otis, we're brothers, man. You're my number one guy.
Otis has a big plate of food.
I think he had a couple plates
he had
in front of him.
trays of food.
Yeah, right. As he should. He's the human tree trunk.
Yeah.
But, he's trying to sit there, enjoy a meal, and here comes the master, Chad Gable, trying to get his help now that he absolutely needs it. And Otis is still shooting him down. He's saying, I'm done. We're done. And Maxine shows up. Tazara shows up. Gable leaves, and, Otis is so disgusted he walks away from his plate of food, and for a guy that size to walk away from his plate of food backstage in catering, he must have really got to him. But now this was a really cool match. This was father versus son. We have Rey Mysterio, Hall of Famer, versus Dirty Dominic Mysterio in a match which I thought Dominic should have won, in my opinion.
I mean, they got to flip it with him soon. He's been a heel for too long now, I feel.
I mean, I'm cool with Dom being nuclear heel that he is right now. I just think he needed to beat his dad there. He needed to beat Rey Mysterio because he lost to Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. So now this is 2 losses to his quote-unquote deadbeat dad. But it wasn't clean, obviously. Liv Morgan gets involved again and inadvertently gets Rey Mysterio a victory here against Dirty Dom, and now she's following Dominic to the backstage area. What can I do to fix it? I'm sorry. Dom's not trying to hear it. He knows he's in deep shit when it comes to Mommy, Rhea Ripley. So, that's how that ends. Now we have another Money in the Bank continuation.
Ooh, yeah,
another builder to this Intercontinental Championship title match. It's Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker in this segment here, and Zayn comes out first, and he's saying he didn't he didn't become the Intercontinental
it was a good
Champion.
Segment, honestly.
It was.
And Braun Breaker is seeming more big league, ready.
He's getting better by the week.
He's good, yeah.
Yeah, and Zayn is out there saying, "Listen, I didn't become Intercontinental Champion by accident. I beat the Ring General." I've really proved myself, and Braun Breaker thinks he's gonna take it from me, but it's just it's not his time yet, so on and so forth. It ends up with Braun trying to do this crazy spear. They're tussling now, and he ends up trying to do this 23-mile-an-hour spear on the outside of the ring, and Sammy ducks out of the way. He spears the steel steps. And not looking good for Braun Breaker at this point. Could be an injury. We don't know. But we're going into Money in the Bank on Saturday. We will see Chad Gable, the Intercontinental Champion, versus Braun Breaker in his first championship opportunity. Mike, what's your prediction? Chad Gable or Braun Breaker this Saturday?
Chad Gable or Braun Breaker?
I'm sorry,
Saturday.
Sami Zayn. I thought I said Sami Zayn.
I was going to say...
Sami Zayn, Braun Breaker.
I feel like we have to save this for the next segment because we're
Fair.
going to be doing our predictions, so
Fair
I can't
enough.
spoil it just yet.
We will
gives you a
hold
reason
that
to
thought.
keep listening because we're going to be doing a lot of talking about a lot of things coming up.
Yeah,
so
we
check
are.
that out.
Absolutely. And to end it all, guys, Monday Night Raw. We've had a couple of days to reflect on this one as well. It is the main event, the Money in the Bank qualifier, triple threat match. Drew McIntyre, he prayed for this. DM Hunk versus Ilya Dragunov, the Mad Dragon versus Sheamus, and another triple threat style match where everybody here tore the house down. Drew McIntyre is just driven by something different right now. Obviously, his burning hatred for CM Punk. He qualifies with a Claymore kick to Sheamus. It makes Dragunov go out looking strong. He did not get pinned. Sheamus can't afford a loss here or there. He's still awesome either way. But Drew McIntyre now qualifies for Money in the Bank. And that's not good for our guy, LA Knight, or anyone else in that match. Monday Night Raw rides off into the sunset. Drew McIntyre moves on to the Money in the Bank. He's out there with CM Punk's bracelet on, by the way. When Punk comes back, the clash between these two guys will be astronomical. It really, really will. That's the end of the Monday Night Raw segment here, guys, on the Source Wrestling Podcast. Thanks for letting us talk to you.
We're going to talk it up.
Absolutely. And we are going to move on, though.
Talk it up.
We're going to move on to some Battle Royal Open discussion.
Put your gloves
questions.
on. Put your gloves on.
Either that or take the gloves off.
Take the gloves off. Let's do this. Bare knuckle.
Let's get it done.
Bare knuckle boxing tonight, right here on the Source.
On the Source Wrestling Podcast on HBO. Yeah.
On HBO. Yeah. All right, well, we got a Battle Royale series of questions to go through here for y'all.
Yes, sir.
We're going to start off with our Money in the Bank predictions.
Yes, okay. It's this Saturday, guys.
Yep, we're going to run through that quick, okay? So we're going to do the Money in the Banks based out of what we know so far. If the person that we don't know so far wins it, it doesn't count against us because we don't know.
We don't know.
So we're going to
know
pick
they were
out
in
of
it,
the
man.
people that we have here because there's no way we can get a show in with the predictions in time.
We're just gonna have to, put this out, and you guys can listen to this, and then we'll talk about Money in the Bank after it's over. You know what I mean?
That is right. So
Yes.
first up, we're going to predict who wins the women's Money in the Bank. It's Chelsea Green, Io Sky, Lyra Valkyria,
Yes.
Naomi, Tiffany Stratton, and Zoe Stark.
Can I just say that's going to be a hell of a match? Mm-hmm. Can I just say that?
I'm going to go with Chelsea Green.
Okay, and I like that answer. I really do. She absolutely deserves it, probably more than any other woman in this match. But I think, her time is still to come. I think it's Tiffy time. And I say she's walking away with the briefcase, and she's going to start a whole monster run here.
Yeah, I think that would be my second guess, honestly.
Yeah, either way, I'll be happy. Either one of them wins, but I'm going with Tiff.
Cool. So Jey Uso versus Carmelo Hayes versus Andrade versus Chad Gable versus LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre for the Money in the Bank ladder match. I think it's I think honestly, like we're saying so much about the possibility of the Wyatt Six,
Yes,
disturbing Jey Uso and
taking him out,
whatever the case may be. But what about Drew McIntyre? Obviously, Punk's coming out. Right?
Oh, yeah, Punk, I can almost guarantee Punk will be there to, Drew will probably be 2 seconds away from grabbing the briefcase, and Punk comes out dressed as your grandma. You know what I mean? As something, and he's going to get involved, and he's going to be the reason why McIntyre is not Mr. Money in the Bank. And I have changed my prediction. It was Jey Uso before this man was in this match. My winner of the Money in the Bank is L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I feel like here's another thing is that it feel like it's too predictable that Drew McIntyre gets screwed over again.
True. What if he wins?
Yeah.
Then that's bad for CM Punk.
And
really,
then he
really
just
bad.
stalks CM Punk until he wins the championship
And takes it from him.
Yeah.
That would definitely be an interesting way to go. But I'm just begging you guys. I'm begging Creative for an LA Knight victory here. Please come through, WWE. Obviously, Drew winning it would be cool and a good second option in my mind. But LA Knight, it's time to give him his flowers, man. This dude is the fastest rising star that I don't know if I've seen anyone else do this in the WWE. Let's get some gold around his waist, man.
I don't think that he's going to win. I think
to lose
that,
two
I
in
think
a
that
row.
when I look at this lineup of Money in the Bankers, okay,
it's a good
Jey
one.
Uso is destined, I feel, to win the Intercontinental Championship.
I can agree with that 100%.
And LA Knight, I feel, is destined to win the U.S. Championship.
Yeah.
They both aren't ready to be the world champion. There's so many people
here's
in
the
line.
thing.
There's so many people in line before him.
Yeah, I know, but listen, hear me out. Here's the thing, and LA Knight even mentioned this to Logan Paul. He wants to get the briefcase and cash it in on Logan. That's what he wants to do.
Really?
Yes. Because Logan has refused him a title match. He says, no, you're not worthy. You know what I mean? You haven't done anything, he says. So this can be LA Knight's, to do something cool and actually use this briefcase on a lesser title.
You talked me into it. My number one choice
See?
is LA Knight.
Yeah.
Okay. And number two is Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
I think maybe he might snake one out.
He might. He prayed for this.
Yeah, he definitely did. So Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. I'm gonna go with. What are you going with?
I'm going Sami Zayn. I think Braun's going to come very close. He's going to have a great outing that's going to be really good for his career to have a marquee matchup with Sami Zayn for a championship, but I think he's going to come up short to the haluva kick. I'm going Sami.
Okay.
You want to go devil's advocate?
Who else is Braun Breaker feuding with right now? Because maybe there could be some outside interference.
Kaiser could really get involved in this. They've been having their problems. You know what I mean?
Does Kaiser have a problem with Sami Zayn?
Kaiser has a problem with.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Kaiser, he cut a promo on Raw about
I saw
it.
that. I saw it.
So does he get involved? Does Sheamus get involved? It's interesting.
It is very interesting. So I guess with that all being said, I'm gonna have to go with. This is tough, man.
It's hard.
I might lose because I'm gonna go with Braun Breaker.
Going with Braun Breaker, and I
think they put the belt on him because they got to. It's like with the type of run he's on, the type of run they're going for, destroying everybody, it would be kind of
definitely validate
to make him look mortal all of a sudden in the midst. Like, you got to know, more or less. I feel like Sami Zayn isn't really important to be champion to the WWE right now.
Yeah, he's not in any storylines.
They've been looking kind of for the next replacement. And I think they're like, well, let's put the belt on, Breaker for a little while and see how the fans respond.
I wouldn't be mad about it, but I'm just going Sammy.
Yeah. Next up, we have Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship.
This is another doozy, man, because there's multiple ways they can go with it. I hate to say this, I really do, because I'm going to clearly state that I want a Seth Rollins victory here. I'm going to say that Damian Priest retains and solidifies this title reign with a win against Seth freaking Rollins.
I'm going Seth freaking Rollins.
I want to do that, but I don't know. I want it. I really do.
Bloodline versus Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton.
Okay. I think the Bloodline takes a loss here. And I think that because we have the WWE champion in this match, the undisputed champion Cody Rhodes, we have
they're outnumbered.
The Legend Killer, they are outnumbered, but I don't know. I think these three superheroes find a way to get it done against the Bloodline. I'm going Cody, KO, RKO.
I think the fact that there's no titles at stake or anything like that this is a chance for the WWE to put the Bloodline over, because it's been having problems. Now they're solidified.
Yeah,
they have
true.
a believable Jacob Fatu that makes it legit. Now they could put them over with this win against three huge superstars. I don't think it benefits the three huge superstars at all. I think they can lose as a team and it'd be fine.
I think it would
detriment the Bloodline way more. So I see the Bloodline winning this, and I think it's going to obviously have something to do with some kind of interference somehow.
Yes.
There's three members of the Bloodline going against these three superstars, and then there's still one member of the Bloodline lingering around the ring.
Yes.
So what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, they're outnumbered.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I think that's kind of going to be the vibe going out of the match, is that the Bloodline's starting to outnumber everybody.
Right.
And then maybe they might overwhelm it, I'm hearing, and add two more members.
Yeah, and even Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton couldn't hold a candle to that.
Yeah. So that's the predictions right there.
Yeah, this Saturday, guys.
Next up, we're going to talk about the Wyatt Six. It's a free form. What do you got, Joe? What's on your mind with the Wyatt Six?
All right.
I know you have some predictions about the Fiend.
I do.
I'd love to hear about it.
I do. Okay, so where I'm at with it is obviously, we're frustrated a little bit. We want to see them in the ring. But like I said earlier on the show, I think they have a story to tell first, before you see these guys out there in matches and wrestling and all that stuff. And with the second VHS tape now, it's diving deeper into Taylor Rotunda losing his mind pretty much. And, Uncle Howdy keeps, bringing him back, with the "there you are, there he is," and he's really instilling this hate in Taylor Rotunda, and like I talked about on the Raw segment of this show, we have Uncle Howdy talking about bringing something back to life, and I have the theory that it could be the Fiend, and Taylor Rotunda could play Uncle Howdy, but he could also play a version of the Fiend. You don't see the two of them together. I think it could really, really work. And I'm just excited to see where they're building to with this. Chad Gable, this could all be a decoy. They could be going after Jey Uso due to the Fireflies, even though he has clearly made it very clear that he wants to give them to the Wyatt Six. He wants nothing to do with it. Many different ways this could go. I do see a new Fiend coming as Taylor Rotunda. I do think they have to finish a story before we see them wrestling in the ring. I think Nikki Cross is going to come out and deliver quite a few more of these videotapes and in these therapy segments between Taylor Rotunda and himself, Uncle Howdy.
Yeah. I think, I think, kind of his demon, as you were to say, would be Uncle Howdy.
Right.
Itself. You know
Uncle,
what I mean?
Uncle
That's
Howdy.
his Fiend. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. That also makes sense But the thing is, he has come out as Uncle Howdy, many times already. He hasn't wrestled a legitimate match as Uncle Howdy, and obviously, he's showing his face in these segments as Taylor Rotunda. Do they bring him out as himself?
Well, he's calling himself Bo Dallas.
I mean, I don't think we've seen any. He's known across the world as Bo Dallas. There hasn't been any graphic on the screen or anything that says Bo Dallas. You know what I mean? And so. It's something that they could create multiple characters for him. I don't know. I feel like he should be Taylor Rotunda now. Bo Dallas was a character of the past. I don't think they've mentioned it on TV. Nobody's saying Bo Dallas, but once we saw Uncle Howdy, the Bo Dallas name I think should rest in peace, and he should also have a split personality as well.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. Maybe he'll have multiple personalities. Who knows? But it's really cool that he let them in.
Yes, he did.
He set them free.
He did. Set them free.
So MJF talk. Where are we going with this? Where are we going with this MJF
all right.
run right
Forbidden
here?
Door is over.
Couple wins under his belt
Yep,
now.
he's
What's
got
up?
2. He beat Roosh, looked credible. He beat Hechicero, looked great. He's pulling out new moves that we haven't seen yet. He's got this, new look. But at Forbidden Door, he did come out with a traditional robe. It was a new one. It said Long Island Zone. He was crowd surfing, because this happened in Long Island. It was his home. It was a nice homecoming for MJF. I think now he was trying on Dynamite to set up a match, with Daniel Garcia for All In. I think we see that match. Garcia and Ospreay have their match coming up. But I think next for MJF is going to be a rivalry with Daniel Garcia, which will elevate Garcia, yes, but he was offering the match to him. I think he follows it up before he goes and chases some gold again. I think him and Daniel Garcia could have a hell of a match.
Yeah, would be cool. Well, I'd say I really think that they need to get him back into the main event. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I really think
he's
I
a
said
main
the last
eventer.
show, and I'll say it again. I think the Swerve Strickland rivalry, obviously Swerve's got to go somewhere from here, right?
Yes.
He doesn't have anything lined
He has
up.
nothing.
MJF's
right now.
got nothing lined up. It's almost like it's meant to be.
Right.
I could see this starting off at Dynamite.
That would be cool.
And you'll know
I
because
gotta
after
say.
this episode airs, Dynamite will be happening. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. So look out for Dynamite tonight, and we will see what's next. Hopefully, see what's next for MJF here. But I'm liking his new Wolf of Wrestling run. He's got 2 solid wins under his belt. That's where I'm at with MJF.
It's a little blase for me, as I've said. But
Yeah, he's done much bigger stuff, obviously. But I think he's just got to. Maybe test himself and make sure he can still go, after the injury, and protect it.
For sure. Next up, we want to talk about both Ricochet and Dijak.
Oh, yes.
And see if they're going, to AEW. If you want to do a quick search,
I can
basically.
I can tell you that Ricochet's contract has officially expired.
He's on the alumni section.
That's
now.
literally what I was just going to say. I can tell you that he is part of the WWE alumni on WWE.com, and we're seeing nothing but reports saying that Ricochet is expected to sign with AEW. Obviously, he cannot use that name. That is a WWE copyright name, unless they're letting him have it. Who knows? Does he come back as Prince Puma, which he was in Lucha Underground with Swerve Strickland and guys like that? It's all signs are pointing towards Ricochet signing to All Elite Wrestling, and another free agent wrestler, Dijak, who just made an appearance at an independent wrestling show the other night. So he's already out and about. His contract is also
he's ready to go.
over.
He just got dropped. He was ready to rock.
Yeah, was it Donovan Dijak or something like that?
I'm not sure.
Whatever he's calling himself now. I don't know if you see Dijak in AEW, maybe as like a free agent type deal, comes and goes type guy. I don't know if he'll be full time there, but he's already taking bookings for independent promotions, and we just have to wait to see where Ricochet lands at this point.
I agree. I read some things the other day that said that Tony Khan wasn't interested in Ricochet. There's a lot of alert to how many good matches he could have with Ospreay.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
others who have a high volume of abilities. But
Yes.
I could definitely see Ricochet going to AEW eventually for sure.
Yeah.
And I see Dijak as well. Either
see
that,
him there?
Either that, or I think that's where he goes because I feel like if he was going to TNA, it would already happened. It would have been a lateral movement. You know what I'm
because
saying?
they're working together type thing, with WWE. They're working very closely, bringing in TNA talent, and it's NXT night as we record this. So who knows who's going to be on NXT tonight?
Which leads me to
They've been cooking.
Yeah, which leads me to your thoughts on who Britt Baker's first opponent would be, and you could just take this one.
While we're on the topic of all elite wrestling, we're the best wrestle, brother. It's not going to work for me, brother. We're going to talk a little bit about what happened at Forbidden Door. At the end of Mercedes Monet's double title win, out comes the returning, and this was awesome. It shocked me. I didn't expect it. The whole place popped. The return of the DMD, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. She returns. She comes out to a huge pop, and she's obviously, I think this is, to answer your question, I think this one is heading towards Dr. Britt Baker in a returning rivalry with the double champion, the CEO, Mercedes Moné. And if you guys are not familiar with Dr. Britt Baker, go get familiar. She has had the most insane death matches in AEW as a woman. She has had a legitimate world title reign. She has beaten them all. Dr. Britt Baker is coming after Mercedes Moné, and that's where I'm at.
I like
brother.
it. I like it. That sounds amazing.
Yes. We will see her on Dynamite tonight, by the way. We will see her.
Hell yeah. So, moving forward and onward, as we get past the hour mark here, we're going to start talking about, when will Roman Reigns return? And if you could just do a quick Google Roman Reigns return.
Yes.
And see what the top articles are for that. We can do some up-to-the-minute search results for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I've just typed it in. It says, this is 2 days ago. This is Sportskeeda now reporting this. So take it, for what it is. It's Roman Reigns' return has already been set in motion. It will happen at major WWE event. That's and this is a prediction by an ex-host, apparently. It says Roman...
Sounds like SummerSlam to me.
Yeah, right. That's a big one. Coming right up.
Yep.
Now, what Sportskeeda says here is that Roman Reigns has been absent from the WWE show since his defeat at WrestleMania. However, a former host at the Stanford-based promotion recently predicted that he would be returning at an upcoming PLE, Premium Live event. The former host in question is Matt Camp on a recent episode of a great podcast, by the way, the Busted Open podcast. He addressed the Bloodlines attack on the Wise Man last Friday on Smackdown. The assault happened after the Wise Man refused to acknowledge Solo, so on and so forth. The former Raw Talk host believes that Sikoa and his associates' actions towards the Wise Man, which I was saying as well, and I was also thinking this, are a significant hint that Reigns' return has already been set in motion. He claims, now this is the climax here, guys. He claims the former undisputed WWE champion will probably come back at SummerSlam.
I'm thinking that's probably lines up with what I feel too.
Absolutely. It can absolutely happen. He comes back with the Wise Man in tow, maybe a neck brace on or something for him, and he's just ready to handle business.
Yeah. Cool. So with that being said, you want to do the same thing for Rhea Ripley.
Okay. Yeah, that's another return that is going to be talked
where everybody's
about.
heads at with her return, because I'm hearing her name. I heard she just got married, so I don't know if she got a honeymoon to take. Like, when did the marriage happen?
It happened, I would say now at the point we're recording this, it's almost been a week. So her and Buddy Matthews have tied the knot.
So I would say she's, famous or whatever, so she'll probably take a 2-week.
Yeah, right. She wants to enjoy a honeymoon, I'm sure.
Right?
Now, I have up right here in front of me a credible source, guys, too. It's Bleacher Report. It's WWE rumors on Rhea Ripley's return, 2-night Royal Rumble, yada, yada, yada. We're here for Rhea and Rhea only right now. Rhea Ripley has been out of action since shortly after WrestleMania due to a shoulder injury, but WWE is reportedly prepared for her return when that does come. According to Fightful Select, WWE has constructed the storyline involving Ripley, Liv Morgan, Dirty Dom, and the Judgment Day so that Rhea can just slide in and return to this program whenever she is ready, and that makes a lot of sense to me. Even if that means bringing her back before she's even cleared for in-ring action, cut promos and be part of the story backstage. Fightful added that Rhea could conceivably be included for plans for SummerSlam, which I have mentioned in previous episodes of the show. I think we might see her by then too, although it's unclear if that would be the case. From a storyline perspective, Morgan was responsible for Ripley's injury and is the reason why she had to vacate the Women's World title. So yeah, once again, they're saying SummerSlam is a possibility for Rhea Ripley, even if she's not cleared.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and moving on to our last question here.
Yes, sir.
We're wondering, if the Judgment Day were to split, how would it split? Who would go where? What side?
Yeah, and I think if the Judgment Day split happens, which seems like it's looming, at least for Priest, I think Priest goes off on his own, does his own thing as Bondage Undertaker. And then we have JD and Finn. I think they stay a team. They're champions. They no longer would be repping the Judgment Day at this point. Maybe they come up with a new name, I think they could be a decent tag team. So seeing, let's say the situation is Damian Priest leaves the Judgment Day. I think they stay together. They stay as a tag team. And Dirty Dom, I think he's his own monster in his own. I don't think he needs a faction anymore. He's so over. He's such a great heel. I'm looking forward to see what Dom does after the Judgment Day.
Yeah, I think maybe they might be feeling like they want to see some matches. Finn Balor against Damian Priest.
That has not happened yet.
Exactly.
Yes,
And
Balor, Priest, one-on-one.
Yeah.
I can take the championship from you. I'm a former champion. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which Balor, in his own right, was the first ever Universal champion. Keep that in mind.
Wow.
Did not keep
red title, right?
The red belt. Yep, red strap. He did not. Unfortunately, did not go his way.
Things.
Yeah, absolutely. We're wrestling fans, man. We gotta know. Now, it's notable, real quick, to say that Finn Balor's inaugural Universal title run was plagued by an injury, so he didn't have the title long. That's been his only world title since.
Okay.
Yeah. So Judgment Day split. Also, Rhea obviously can hold her own as well. She doesn't need to be in the Judgment Day. It just happens to work, and the storylines are cooking right now.
Yeah,
obviously.
but I like her in a faction, and
Me
I feel
too.
like, personally,
Me too.
I'm seeing it as, Dom, Finn, JD, and Carlito. Or maybe
Carlito's been great too. We haven't talked about him yet.
I think Carlito double crosses them and joins up with Damian and Rhea.
Oh, now that's cool, as Carlito would say. Yeah, and honestly, I haven't gotten to the point of talking about Carlito yet. I think he's doing a great job as being a prospect for the Judgment Day. JD had a lot rougher time getting in, but Carlito's cool. You know what I mean? And he's been in the game over 20 years. He's been, he's done all this. So if the Judgment Day splits, Carlito will be fine. He'll go out and do his own thing and spit apples in people's faces. But I like seeing him with the Judgment Day right now. I do. He's bringing a different flavor to it.
Yes, he is. But you're not seeing him team up with Damian or anything like that?
After the fact, no, I don't think so. I think once he makes his Judgment Day exit, he's back to being the Carlito of old, Caribbean cool type deal.
Let's see.
Yeah. That is the Battle Royal Open Discussion session, segment, whatever you want to call it. It was a session, though, for the Source Wrestling Podcast. And before we leave the studio tonight, we are going to end the show with a little bit of On This Day in Wrestling History. Let us talk to you. It's the Source Wrestling Podcast.
Yeehaw! And on this day in wrestling history, we have our notable wrestling birthdays.
Let's hear them.
Start off with Johnny Swinger.
Johnny
1975.
And if I can elaborate on Johnny Swinger, he was a mid-card guy in the WCW Nitro days. Didn't really get over much, but he had the look. He looked like he worked well in the ring. Johnny Swinger.
But was he a swinger?
We don't know. Did he swing? He was Johnny Swinger. We know that.
Facts. Next up is Vladimir Kozlov.
Yes.
1972.
And this was like a WWE's first attempt at a Gunther-like character. I don't know if you guys remember Vladimir Kozlov, but he was this big Russian who came in and, dominated everybody, didn't talk much, and, kind of had the same type of build strategy as, the ring general Gunther. But it just did not get over. Kozlov ended up in some comedy gimmicks and comedy storylines, and his time with WWE dissipated. But it's his birthday, so happy birthday to Vladimir Kozlov.
Shinya Hashimoto, 1965.
Sounds like somebody that just wrestled at Forbidden Door.
Right?
Happy birthday to you, though, on this day in wrestling history.
Absolutely. And on this day in wrestling history, we have at a taping of WWE Smackdown in 2001 in Tacoma, Washington, Billy Kidman.
Wow. Speaking
defeated
of WCW.
Shane Helms to win the WCW Cruiserweight Championship, making his first WCW title to change hands in a WWF ring. That's why it's notable.
That is wild, yeah. And for those of you who don't know, Shane Helms, Billy Kidman's opponent, was the Hurricane in the WWE at an earlier time. And that happened on this day in wrestling history. And on this day in wrestling history, the year is 2012. It was WWE Super Smackdown Live, the Great American Bash. It took place at the American Bank Center in Corpus Christi, Texas, where the Wyatt Six debuted. So I want to make sure that is noted. We had Cody Rhodes himself before the American Nightmare. We had dashing Cody Rhodes defeating Christian in a Money in the Bank qualifying match, and that happened on this day in wrestling history. So as Money in the Bank now is this Saturday, we happen to catch on this day in wrestling history with a little bit of Money in the Bank wrestling history, brothers.
Yeah, and on this day in wrestling history, 1994 is the year in the scene.
Great
at
year.
A taping of WWF Superstars in Ocean City, Maryland. Bret Hart defeated Bob Backlund to retain the WWF Championship.
That is awesome.
After the match, Backlund shook hands with Hart before snapping and slapping him before locking in the crossface chicken wing, turning heel.
Yep, that was his
process.
finisher too. Yep, that was his finisher.
Backlund ended the segment by staring insanely at his hands.
Yeah, he was quite the weird character. I was never into him, I gotta say. Everyone looks at Bob Backlund as this wrestling god. I just don't see it. But that did
He was
happen.
annoying to me.
In my opinion, he was. He was just, he didn't
He
really...
held the title for a long time, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. A very long time. And Roman
cow.
thankfully beat that title reign. I got one more for you guys before we go. On this day in wrestling history, the year is 2018. Team Hell No, which consisted of Kane and Bryan Danielson back when he was Daniel Bryan, they reunited to beat none other than Jimmy and Jay Uso in the main event of a SmackDown in Omaha, Nebraska, and that happened on this day in wrestling history. Obviously, Kane and Daniel Bryan had a tag team championship run as Team Hell No. That's going to wrap it up for us, guys. We have taken up enough of your time today. Before we go, please follow the show. It really goes a long way to help keep us going. Also, please rate the show. That is the most important thing you could do. It takes 2 seconds. You don't even have to listen to a full episode. You can skip to the end if you really feel that way and just leave us a rating. We want to know how we're doing. As of right now, we're doing good. We got 5 stars all across the board. Not a 4.9, not a 4.7. It is 5.0. So we thank everyone who listens to the show. I know, I'm really not trying to jinx it, but thank you to everyone who has listened to the show, who has followed us, who has rated us. The Source Wrestling Podcast is available on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, wherever you may look. You will find the Source, and
listen to the Source.
Just listen to us. Let us talk to you. It's the Source, WWE, AEW, All Things Wrestling Podcast with Joe
and
Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let us talk to you.
Yeah.
Let us do it now.
till we meet again.
And that's the bottom line, because Joe and Mike said so.
Woo!
Yeet.